Time to talk about what is going to be certainly the most useful unit for the Skaven, or the one that will see the most use from the DLC. Of course, Wolf Rats here, the poison variant, going to be used by Klaxton Soothsayer. His Skaven up against my Bretonnia here, and he's only brought the one, but it can be used to very, very good effect. So Hound-type units are generally pretty useful. 60 models with decent charge, especially on the Wolf Rats. 28 charge for a Hound-type unit. Pretty good. 28 melee attack, 26 weapon strength, the high model count, plus the fast movement and like decent charge and attack stats. I mean, they're not amazing, but it's decent, especially considering most quote-unquote light cavalry units are 45 models, right? These guys are 60 models, and they actually technically count as infantry, so they can be used against spears and other units, anti-large units that might typically be defending the flank. For myself, I've got a whole bunch of peasant archers, men-at-arms, spear men-at-arms, Enchantress, plus Green Knight and the Paladin up front. We've also got, on the Skaven side here, some Poison Wind units. We've got some Globadiers here. I guess just the Globadiers, yeah. Hell Pit Abomination. Throughout the Unclean leading the way. Plague Priest up on a bell, or a furnace rather. Rat Ogres, lots of chaff, and then one of each artillery piece. The Warp Lightning Cannon, Plague Clock Catapult. You can see the Plague Clock Catapult already doing some great work against my Peasant Archers there in the distance, routing them off consistently and easily. But where did the Hounds go, you ask? Well, might wonder the same thing myself. They're just kind of hanging around here in the interior, waiting for an opportunity to squeak up and around. They're actually going to get a charge here on these peasant mobs. Nope, looks like they nope out and around. I'm swinging wide with my cavalry here, so the Hounds are going to get loose over around the side. Meanwhile, on the front line, going to get this 3-on-1 single entity engagement. Unfortunately, the Enchantress is taking a decent amount of damage here. Stacking physical resistance only does so much, so we're going to pop an early regrowth there. That could potentially be problematic in the late game, but these Rat Ogres have taken quite a bit of damage there. Those are not summoned Rat Ogres, those are real. They took a nice charge from the Knights of the Lion-Hearted. Pulling up my cav over here to try and get in this artillery box, but I have left these Hounds completely unaccounted for, and somehow that spear also is left in the distance there. Not really sure what happened with them. I guess they just decided to not participate. Probably got paid off by some rat men somewhere, but the Hounds come in. I have to say, the Wolf Rats have some of the cooler looking unit models of any Hound unit. They look absolutely awesome. But they're going to start to just chew apart massive amounts of Peasant Archers here, and this is important. I really need these Peasant Archers to take down this Hell Pit Abomination. I had 5 of them in total, and between the summons now and the Wolf Rats, combined with the Plague Clock Catapult, it's keeping my Peasant Archers routed off and, not allowing them to contribute to this battle at all. I finally do punch through and get on those Plague Clock Catapults with the Knights of the Realm there, but Warp Lightning Cannons, another defensive position, has been able to hold out pretty well, so a lot of it's going to come down to these heroes. Klaxton Soothsayer doesn't have too much magic damage here. The Plague Priest up on the bell does actually do magic damage, though, so maybe he can come in here, try and bumper car the Green Knight. In the late game, the Enchantress, you can see already getting pretty close to her healing cap, but that drain will be pretty consistent. We're going to try and rally what we can here, but yeah, these Hounds, man, they are just racking up kills. Already 100 kills and climbing. All these Peasant Archers to chew on. The Lost Peasants, having collected their Warpstone tokens, are now joining the battle. We did manage to rout the Plague Claw Catapult crew and also these Poison Wind Globes, so it's not all doom and gloom for Bretonnia. Might be able to pull things back here if I can use my hero squad effectively. One thing, though, that I did notice, and not only in this battle but in a few other battles I played, is that because of the mass and kind of bracing and acceleration changes, it sometimes be a little bit more difficult to use Horse Lords. Like, you see how this Paladin just got caught up even in his own infantry there? It was a little bit of a problem before, but I do notice it as more of a prevalent problem now. Like, previously, these guys might have been able to push through, depending on the situation, what they're surrounded by. But now, if they get surrounded by pretty much any unit, they're not going to be able to pull out, regardless if it's light infantry or whatever else. Definitely a very noticeable problem for horse characters, just something to be aware of. But here, I'm just kind of ping-ponging between these high-value targets. Unfortunately, we are able to do some good damage here, but it's not really enough. The Plague Priest has already drained out most of my peasant front line, and they've all been terrified away. The Hounds, where are the Hounds? highlight of this replay. They're back here. They're up to almost 200 kills, so in the time that I was highlighting those other things, they've literally just been doing this. So picture this for the last, you know, whatever, minute and a half, 2 minutes. These poison hounds, which do look absolutely awesome. Just devouring these peasants. And if you want more poison hound action, pretty much in every single game I've showcased of the Skaven in early access, like one unit of hounds at least has paid for itself whenever they've been brought. I would definitely say for any Skaven build, having access to this kind of 90+ speed fast attack unit, like unit of hounds that can chase routing units off the field, get at skirmishers, you can even use them in high numbers to ambush like cavalry, win mobility engagements. It turns things in a way for Skaven, because previously, like, in taking this build too, I had considered like, should I bring some trebuchets plus mass archers? But I was like, no, you know, previously you could take, you know, catapult type artillery, for example, right, against the Skaven and just leave it in the back and have it continuously fire in to take out weapons teams. Now though, with the wolf rats, they have an option to at least threaten you, so you have to think, okay, do I allocate some protection there? Do I kind of hang back, try and get the Skaven to come to me? Or maybe if they have, you know, superior artillery, I might have to advance anyway. There's some different situations there. Green Knight, of course, also would take magic damage from the Warp Lightning Cannon. And things are just looking pretty grim in general. The Paladin hasn't taken too much damage yet, but he will be pretty vulnerable. We've just about taken down the Plague Priest, but it's not... I mean, I've kind of spread my damage between all these single entities. I haven't been able to focus down any one of them. So credit to Tlaxlan Soothsayer, of course, a very, very good player. This is a replay from preparing for the Everchosen. You'll probably see it long after the Everchosen, but still. Creature Killer gets popped from Throt there. Extra bonus versus large, extra melee attack on the Remoldered, also from the Hell Pit Abomination, and he just shatters the Fanchantress. Army loss hits, just the Green Knight left. I'm going to throw in the towel because there's no need to finish that. But yeah, very well played to Tlaxlan Soothsayer, and 318 kills at the end of the day on those hounds, almost tripling their value in terms of damage. A lot of that is chasing routing units, and that's even, you know, tactical value as well, which is kind of hard to quantify. A lot of you guys have talked about that, and also, you know, these peasant bowmen do have some remaining HP left that is unaccounted for in that damage stat, right? So really, these wolf rats maybe triple or quadruple their value just in terms of finishing off all of these peasant archers. Like the catapult definitely contributed to that. Some summoned clan rats did as well, but those wolf rats, man, just one unaccounted for in your backline changes. I'm not going to say it changes everything, but it changes quite a few matchups. I will say that the wolf rats are low leadership enough that they really don't change the undead matchups, which I think were some of the harder matchups already for the Skaven, which is why I called the, what is it, not the Bonebreaker, the Mutant Rat Ogre, the best unit, because it actually, I think, would affect the matchups that are hard for Skaven, but these guys, they're just going to be a great utility tool in a lot of matchups. Basically, any matchup where you can actually route units, so literally all the non-undead matchups, will just be a nice tool to be able to pressure opponents' skirmish units, try and contest light cavalry engagements, or even heavy cavalry engagements, given that there's the armor-piercing variant as well, which we'll take a look at in just a minute. But yeah, for the rest of Tlaxlan's build here, the Bell and also Throt getting some good value, not only in support, but doing some damage as well. Hell Pit Abomination also got some great value there. Warp Lightning Cannon almost doubled its value. These guys are very expensive artillery. I say very expensive. They're decently expensive, but they are very effective if used correctly. Plague Claw Catapult, it's a little bit interesting. This one, just raw damage didn't pay for itself, but the fact that it was keeping those peasants routed, again, that tactical value, a little more hard to quantify, that probably, plus the damage, did actually pay for itself. The Poison Winds I was able to shut down reasonably effectively. They were definitely a priority for me, but it came at the cost of allowing all these archers to just get ransacked. And even, like, you know, one of these knights hanging back along with that line of archers wouldn't have completely countered the hounds, but it wouldn't have allowed them to run so completely free. But yeah, my Knights of the Realm didn't pay for themselves mostly. The Knights of the Lionhearted did, just because they were able to lance those rat ogres. Basically clean them up without them doing anything, but the rest of the knights had a little bit of a rougher time. And it's an interesting one. Like I said, the Hounds kind of changes this, not only from Bretonnia, but a lot of factions that bring the catapult-type artillery against Skaven, which I'm a big fan of. You do have to kind of consider now that these wolf rats are going to be a thing, right? And if we have some comparisons here, the clearest you know, most direct comparison would be to like Poison Warhounds, Chaos Poison Warhounds specifically. And Poison Warhounds do cost less, right? You don't have an armor-piercing variant, you just have a regular 400-point variant. Wolf Rats, you've got the armor-piercing magic damage ones and the Wolf Rats with poison. So comparing the poison here, you can see they do have a little bit more weapon strength, a little bit more melee attack and defense, a little bit more charge, but less leadership, right? So a little bit better stats overall, so you do pay for the cost, but leadership being even that much less, it can be a bit of an issue, although they do gain the benefit of this scurry away, so they'll actually run away faster than other Hound units will, which is arguably a benefit. And then, of course, you have the armor-piercing variant, rather, which has pretty low total weapon strength, but still, I think it's like 12 AP, 10 AP damage, which is not too bad, considering, you know, the cost of these guys, especially with the charge bonus active. They'll get some good armor-piercing damage, especially to physical resistance targets, cost effectively, if they don't have too high of melee defense. Something maybe like, I don't know, Grail Guardians, they might not even do much to even on the charge. Thankfully, there is a few ways you can juice up their attack to really take advantage of this armor-piercing damage, whether that be through like Death Frenzy, Skaven Brew, giving him some anti-large, basically, right? Counts as attack and weapon strength, both, from Throt Boy. That would be fantastic to give this creature killer in an AoE. But of course, yeah, there's other ways you can potentially juice up their melee attack. Debuff your opponent's melee defense, maybe with Brittle Bone, I don't know, different things. But regardless, using them kind of in tandem, especially with like Brood Horrors, because Brood Horrors are also 95 speed, right? They can kind of support each other very effectively. And it's just great to have these options, honestly, for a multitude of different matchups. I'm a huge fan of the Wolf Rats, and you'll see them consistently kind of playing their role, paying for themselves, sometimes even way overpaying for themselves, like in this case. So, yeah, big thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. See you next time.